Why it is actually so hard to be the President of the United States, the reality of Donald Trump. The President of the United States is often described as the most powerful individual on earth. The commander-in-chief of the world's most advanced military, the leader of the largest economy, the face of a nation whose decisions shape global politics, markets, and security. From the outside, the role appears almost mythical, but power, when examined closely, tells a very different story. Because while the presidency grants authority, it simultaneously strips away something far more basic: freedom. Donald Trump did not simply win an election. He entered a position that permanently transformed how he could live, move, think, and exist as a human being. This is not a political argument. This is a structural reality of the presidency itself. And to understand why being President of the United States is so difficult, so restrictive, and often so psychologically exhausting, we must look beyond speeches, headlines, and public appearances. We must look at the daily human cost of power. The moment normal life ends. The presidency does not begin on Inauguration Day. It begins the moment the election is decided. From that moment onward, the individual ceases to be a private citizen. Donald Trump's life changed overnight, not symbolically, practically. He could no longer move freely. He could no longer travel spontaneously. He could no longer engage in unplanned human activity. Every action now required approval. Every location required clearance. Every moment required protection. This is not an exaggeration. It is protocol. Because the President of the United States is not only a leader, he is a national asset. And national assets are protected, monitored, and controlled. Constant surveillance and security. From the moment Donald Trump became president, he was under continuous Secret Service protection. This protection is absolute. It is uninterrupted. It follows the president everywhere. Every room he enters is scanned. Every building is evaluated. Every route is planned in advance. Snipers are positioned. Medical teams are on standby. Escape routes are prepared. This level of security exists because threats are constant. The presidency attracts enemies from around the world, foreign adversaries, extremist groups, disaffected individuals, political radicals. The threats are not theoretical. They are documented, evaluated, and tracked daily. Therefore, the president is never alone. Even when he appears alone, he is not. The death of privacy. Privacy does not disappear gradually. It ends immediately. Donald Trump could not have a private moment in public space. He could not react naturally. He could not speak casually. Every word he spoke publicly was recorded, analyzed, and interpreted. Every facial expression was examined. Every gesture was scrutinized. In a world of constant media coverage and instant communication, the president's humanity becomes content. Mistakes are magnified. Silence is questioned. Emotion is politicized. This creates a psychological environment where self-awareness becomes constant. There is no mental rest. The burden of speech. When Donald Trump spoke, he was not just expressing opinion, he was issuing signals. Markets responded, governments reacted, institutions adjusted. A single sentence could cause stock prices to rise or fall. A single phrase could escalate diplomatic tension. A single comment could trigger protests across continents. Therefore, speech is no longer personal. It becomes strategic, measured, filtered through layers of advisors, legal teams, and policy experts. This is not freedom of expression. It is controlled communication under global consequence. When silence speaks louder than words, even silence becomes dangerous. When the president does not comment on an issue, the absence of comment becomes news. Analysts speculate, markets react, foreign governments interpret intent. Inaction is interpreted as strategy. Neutrality becomes impossible. The president is always communicating, even when saying nothing. This creates relentless pressure, because there is no safe response. Every choice carries cost. The illusion of total power. Many believe the president controls everything. This belief is inaccurate. Donald Trump did not govern alone. He faced resistance from Congress, from courts, from state governments, from federal agencies. The American political system is designed to limit power. Checks and balances prevent unilateral control. Therefore, while responsibility rests on the president, authority is shared. This creates a unique frustration. The president is blamed for outcomes he cannot fully control. Expectations exceed authority, and disappointment becomes inevitable. The weight of decision-making. Every decision made by the president has consequences. Some are immediate, others unfold over years. Military decisions involve lives. Economic decisions affect millions. Foreign policy decisions shape global stability. There is no margin for error, and there is no rewind. Donald Trump carried the weight of knowing that every decision could change history. This responsibility does not disappear when the cameras turn off. It follows the president into every moment. The psychological cost. The presidency demands constant alertness. There are no weekends. There are no true vacations. Crises do not pause. Briefings arrive at all hours. Threats emerge without warning. The president must be prepared to respond at any moment. This level of responsibility creates chronic stress. Sleep becomes irregular. Mental fatigue accumulates. Decision-making becomes relentless. This is not a temporary state. It is continuous. Relationships under pressure. Power alters relationships. Friends become cautious. Associates become strategic. Every interaction carries potential consequence. Trust becomes difficult. Motives are questioned. Is someone offering advice or seeking advantage? Is loyalty genuine or temporary? Donald Trump, like all presidents, had to navigate relationships under constant suspicion. This erodes normal human connection, and isolation increases. The permanent target. Once someone becomes President of the United States, they remain a target for life. Threats do not end with the term. Protection does not disappear. Enemies do not forget. Donald Trump will never again live without security. He will never blend into anonymity. This is a permanent transformation, not a temporary sacrifice. Global influence and quiet power. Despite these burdens, the presidency offers unparalleled influence. Donald Trump could shape global narratives. A meeting could legitimize a leader. A refusal could isolate a nation. Presidential power operates quietly, through pressure, through alliances, through economic leverage. This influence does not require force, it requires presence. But influence demands constant awareness. Every action sends a signal. Every signal creates reaction. The president as a symbol. The president is not just a person. He is a representation of national identity. His actions reflect the country. His words represent collective power. This symbolic role magnifies pressure, because personal mistakes become national controversies. Individual flaws become political weapons. There is no separation between self and office. Legacy without control. Presidents do not control how history remembers them. Donald Trump's presidency will be debated for decades. Supporters and critics will frame his actions differently. Narratives will compete. Intent will be questioned. Once office ends, control over legacy ends. Public memory replaces personal perspective. This loss of narrative control is unavoidable. Why it actually sucks. The presidency removes freedom in exchange for authority. It replaces personal life with national obligation. It isolates the individual behind layers of power. Donald Trump gained influence over the world, but he lost control over his own daily existence. This is the trade-off. Power demands sacrifice. Leadership demands surrender. The final reality. The presidency is not a reward. It is a responsibility with irreversible consequences. It consumes personal freedom. It demands psychological endurance. It imposes permanent restriction. Donald Trump lived this reality, not as a concept, but as daily life. Conclusion. The most powerful position in the world is also one of the most restrictive. Once someone becomes president of the United States, normal life does not return. Freedom is replaced by responsibility. Privacy is replaced by security. Power comes at the cost of humanity. This is the reality behind the title. This is the unseen cost of power. This is VDS Entertainments, revealing the truth behind authority. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon for more videos.